To fulfill my grandfather's final dying wish, I was forced to marry the daughter of the capital's richest tycoon. We met for a mere 3 minutes and were legally wed within half an hour, all arranged by the wealthy old man Bai. He watched the entire ordeal like a hawk, ensuring every single formality was finalized. Finally, his granddaughter, with clear reluctance, shoved the red marriage certificate into my hands. Old Master Bai's anxious, turbulent heart finally found a moment of peace. I tucked the license into my pocket and turned to leave. But the woman walking ahead of me abruptly stopped, warning, "I expect you to keep today's event strictly confidential, Mr. Fang. If a single soul finds out about this, you will suffer the consequences." It took a few seconds to process that I'd just been threatened. So, she wants a secret marriage? She could have just said so directly. I'm not exactly easily intimidated. Looking at the still warm marriage certificate in my hand, I snapped a photo and sent it to my grandfather. "Grandpa, my mission is accomplished. Now, you better eat properly and stop throwing tantrums or going on hunger strikes." I had to rush back to the hospital for my shift, promising to visit him later tonight. At dusk, I rode back home on my motorcycle, where 2 maids were already waiting to greet me. I asked anxiously, "Is Grandpa feeling any better today? Did he finally eat something?" "He finished a whole bowl. His mood seems quite bright, actually. He even told us you were getting married, young master. Yesterday, you were still single, while the old master was on a hunger strike. Who would have thought you'd be wed in a single day? We'll discuss that later. I'm going to check on Grandpa before dinner." I stood outside his door, centering my emotions and forcing a cheerful smile onto my face. Then I pushed open the master bedroom door. "Yo, Gramps, keeping up with the news?" Old man Fang looked up weakly, his eyes meeting mine. "Show me, let Grandpa see the proof." I swiftly fished the red booklet from my pocket and placed it in his frail hands. Then, I sat by the bed, leaning gently against his shoulder. His hands trembled as he opened the certificate, a thin veil of tears glistening in his eyes. "At last, I can finally rest easy," he whispered. Old man Bai kept his ironclad promise. He truly stood by that sacred vow. The old master clutched my hand with whispering, "Nanan, Grandpa won't be by your side for much longer. I'm not afraid of death, but you're the only one I can't bear to leave. Now that you've legally wed Miss Bai, a massive weight has been lifted from my soul." His frail, emaciated frame shifted slightly, raising a withered, wrinkled hand to gently brush away my cascading tears. "A real man doesn't cry. You're a married man now. You can't be acting like a crybaby. Promise you'll be strong, or I'll haunt your dreams just to scold you. Grandpa, let me stay with you tonight. I'll just sleep on the sofa." Hearing the old master's fragile voice, I was so choked up I could barely speak. "Look at you, all grown up. Yet you still want to bunk with a senile old man." Old man Fang smiled, his eyes brimming with deep love and devotion. A maid came up to call me for dinner, but seeing the two of us leaning on each other, she stood outside, quietly dabbing her eyes. She had helped raise young Master Fang since he was a boy. Old man Fang, at his advanced age, had played both father and mother for all these years, a feat that even we servants deeply admired. Wiping her tears, the maid tapped softly, "Young master, dinner is served. Go on, get some food. Look at the time. Don't think just because you're young, you can keep pushing your body to its limits. I know, I'm going right now. And don't you dare lock this door again. If you do, I'll get a divorce tomorrow." Grandpa chuckled weakly at my threat. "Just go eat your dinner." The dining room felt hollow with only me at the table. I set my chopsticks down, my voice cutting through the silence. "Go ahead and start organizing things for Grandpa's eventual departure. Look up the number for the funeral parlor and find people to set up the mourning hall." My expression remained chillingly stoic, like a prisoner standing before the executioner's block, without hope, having obviously accepted the final, inevitable verdict. The two servants froze in shock, standing there like statues, completely stunned. Their eyes were bloodshot as they stood paralyzed with grief. "Just go," I muttered. "My grandfather likely won't survive the night. But in front of him, do not let your composure slip for a second." In truth, I had already noticed it. His breathing was incredibly shallow and weak. He was merely using every ounce of willpower to hold on, even pretending to read the newspaper just for show. "Yes, young master," they choked out, turning away as they wiped their tears. How much agonizing courage did the young master need to begin preparing for old Master Fang's funeral in advance? Keeping such a heavy secret must be tearing his soul apart. Once the servants left, the tears I'd been holding back finally streamed down my cheeks. I raised my sleeve, but no matter how much I wiped, they wouldn't stop. Eventually, I just gave up trying to hide it. With every blink, my vision blurred until the food before me vanished, and heavy, translucent droplets began to splash into the plain white rice. The darkness tonight seemed to descend much faster than usual. Countless stars struggled to light up the sprawling estate. It was a beautiful night, yet so tragic. At midnight, I leaned against the grand entrance, staring up at the magnificent scenery above. The tip of my cigarette glowed faintly amidst the drifting clouds of smoke, my gaze reflecting nothing but utter helplessness and lingering regret. Once the cigarette burned down to ash, I tightened my coat and turned to head upstairs. My feet felt like they were dragging lead weights. I had never been this terrified in my entire life. Reaching Grandpa's door, I took a deep, shaky breath, carefully twisting the lock to avoid a sound. I approached the bedside to look upon my only kin. Now nothing but skin and bone. I slowly extended my index and middle fingers to check for a breath at his nose. After just 1 second, my lips twisted into a grimace of suppressed agony. I sank slowly onto the edge of the bed, pulling Grandpa's bone-chilling cold hand to my chest, desperately trying to share my warmth. "Grandpa, you're being so stubborn. How could you break your promise? We agreed I'd stay tonight. How could you go to sleep without me?" I wiped away a stray tear, staring blankly at the pale, lifeless man on the bed. I continued to ramble, wondering, if I hadn't gotten that marriage certificate today, would you still be here? Did you truly believe that by pawning me off to the Bai family, you could finally depart in peace? But in a world without my grandfather, how can I ever truly have a home? I wept for an eternity, simply clutching Grandpa's cold hand, whispering endless fragmented memories from my earliest childhood up until this very moment. "Remember when you'd sneak me out to buy candied haws after my final conversation with his spirit?" I stood up to fetch warm water, meticulously cleaning Grandpa's body. I combed his hair until not a single strand was out of place, then searched the wardrobe to find the brand new suit I had bought for him recently. The old master had adored it, praising me for my impeccable taste. After gathering my broken composure, I forced a big sweet smile onto my face and stood at the top of the stairs, calling, "Aunt, please come upstairs now." "Young master, what's happened?" The two maids came racing up the stairs, but seeing my bloodshot, swollen eyes, they were instantly struck by a wave of dread. "Call the funeral coordinators immediately. Grandpa is gone." As for the arrangements, I hired a specialized agency to handle everything, ensuring monks were present to chant the final rites. In life, Grandpa always found solace in Buddhist scriptures. "Young master, should we notify your father?" The maid sobbed as she spoke. "No, don't. Let Grandpa rest in peace for just one night. I'll be the one keeping him company tonight." Before he passed, Grandpa didn't say a single word about my so-called biological father. As Grandpa's only son, I won't stop him from paying respects later, but I have zero desire to reach out to him myself. The very concept of a father has been erased from my vocabulary for a long time. Ever since the day I turned 10, I completely forgot how to even address him. And so, the once silent estate suddenly became a hive of somber activity. Bathed in brilliant bright lights flooded the estate like high noon, yet there wasn't a spark of warmth or life. The glare only intensified the hollow emptiness. From this exact moment on, I knew I was completely, truly alone. Meanwhile, the ancient Bai family manor was ablaze with light. Normally, old man Bai would have been fast asleep by this hour, but ever since hearing that his old friend Fang had only days left, he stayed up every single night. He is finally gone. Old man Bai looked down at his unfinished calligraphy, letting out a heavy sigh. "Prepare the car. We are going to the Fang residence. And call Xiaoshuai right now. Tell her she needs to get over there this instant." "Understood, master. I will see to it immediately." By the time the butler arrived at the Fang estate, the morning hall was already meticulously prepared. I had personally supervised every single detail. When Grandpa was alive, he was a total perfectionist. He always used to say that details decide success or failure, and that we must always be careful and precise. Just then, I heard hurried footsteps and the rhythmic thud of a cane tapping the floor. Kneeling on the floor, I turned around. To my absolute shock, the very first person to arrive was my new bride's grandfather. I could not understand why an industry titan like Old Man Bai held my grandfather in such high regard. I had planned to ask Grandpa about it today, but time ran out too quickly. "Grandpa Bai." I greeted him quietly. "My child, you have been through so much. Stay strong, and please accept my condolences." After offering incense, Old Man Bai stood quietly before Grandpa's portrait. From my kneeling position, I could clearly see tears welling in his eyes, glistening under the cold lights. 2 hours later, inside his Mercedes-Benz, Old Man Bai looked grim. He grabbed his phone and, with a dark expression, dialed his granddaughter's number. "Where on earth are you right now?" His voice carried a heavy, terrifying authority. He was clearly fuming. A cold, calm voice replied, "I am at the office." Her response was brief, offering zero explanation. "And why haven't you paid your respects? Even if you were forced to marry him, he is still your husband on that paper. It is your duty to offer condolences," Old Man Bai said with stern conviction. "A marriage certificate does not mean I accept him, Grandpa. Since I have already compromised by marrying him, isn't that enough?" Fuming with rage, Old Man Bai slammed the phone down. Gasping for air, he clutched his tight chest and continued to mutter curses under his breath at his granddaughter. Beside him, Butler Bai spoke softly. Master, there is no need to make your blood boil. You know the young lady's temperament better than anyone. She is far too exceptional. She calculates every single move she makes. Using her shares to force her into this marriage with a boy she detests. Her giving in at all is already a massive concession, and she only did it because of you. Old man Bai sighed. She is my own flesh and blood. Would I ever ruin her future? If old man Fang had not saved my life, none of this would even exist today. That stubborn girl thinks I am only forcing her to marry Fang Mo to keep an old promise. But I checked out Fang Mo myself. Old man Fang raised him to be a man of true integrity. If he were some useless degenerate, I would never have agreed to this. Old man Bai's brow twitched with irritation. His granddaughter clearly did not understand him at all. Master, please do not worry yourself sick. If Mr. Fang has hidden talent, the young lady will surely notice within 3 months. And if they ultimately cannot make it work, you can always adopt him as your grandson. Old man Bai's eyes lit up with interest. Knowing Xiaoshuai, she will keep this marriage completely hidden from the public. I forced her to live with Fang Mo for 3 months because I want her to see the kind of man he actually is. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, perhaps old man Fang's soul could not rest, or maybe the heavens themselves were weeping for us. A torrential downpour battered the ground all night. I stayed there with 2 loyal servants, keeping vigil in the morning hall until dawn. Fang Mo, stay strong. Do not drown in your grief. For your grandfather, this might be a final release from his pain. The speaker was Mother Su, who had come with Su Chen early this morning to pay respects. Fang Mo, hang in there. If you are this broken, Grandpa Fang cannot rest peacefully. He hated seeing you cry. Remember, you still have me. Su Chen looked at me, seeing how much I had withered in days, and placed a comforting hand on my shoulder. I gave a polite, heavy bow to Mother Su. She had watched the deep bond between my grandfather and me for years, and she truly felt our pain. After paying her respects, Mother Su left, while Su Chen stayed to keep me company. A few moments later, the quiet sadness was shattered by an angry shout. Your grandfather kicked the bucket last night, and you did not even bother to tell me about something this huge? I see your twisted intentions now. You are just as wicked as your mother was. The intruder was my father, Fang Cheng, who started shouting insults the second he stormed into the room. If you are only here to disturb Grandpa's spirit, then turn right around and walk back out that door. I stared at Fang Cheng with piercing intensity, my eyes burning with pure, unadulterated hatred. There was not a shred of love left between us. My father flinched. This was only the second time I had ever glared at him like that. The first was the day my mother jumped to her death. Inside the morning hall, the guests began to whisper and gossip. Everyone in these circles knew our messy family drama. Some genuinely pitied me, while others were just there to enjoy the spectacle. But who among them could truly feel my crushing pain? Su Chen stepped forward, closing the distance. Uncle Fang, you have been standing here for quite a while. By tradition, shouldn't you offer incense to Grandpa and leave? Pressured by the Su family's influence and the weight of the day, Fang Cheng did not dare cause more trouble. Old man Bai was the last guest to arrive. He scanned the room with a sharp, searching gaze, failing to spot his disappointing granddaughter anywhere. He then walked slowly toward the altar to pay his respects. My child, once we lay your grandfather to rest today, it is time for you to move into your new home. Old man Bai spoke gently, his eyes filled with warm grandfatherly affection. His words were clearly a warm suggestion rather than a cold order. All right, thank you, Grandpa Bai. At the cemetery, Su Chen held a black umbrella over me, standing silently by my side in the drizzling rain. Su Chen, go on back first. I want to have a private talk with Grandpa. All right, take the umbrella with you. Grandpa is right here. He would never let a single raindrop touch me. Su Chen's eyes instantly filled with tears. His voice cracked as he whispered, do not stay out too long. This rain is getting cold, and Grandpa Fang always hated it when you got sick. As mist gathered on the gravestone, I wiped it dry with my bare hands. Grandpa, it is just us again, isn't it? Let's talk some more. I stayed and spoke to his spirit for what felt like an eternity. When my voice gave out, I just leaned against the cold stone, feeling his presence close. The second I stepped back into the Fang estate, the domestic helpers rushed out to meet me, looking panicked. Young master, there is a lawyer inside waiting for you. Did he say why? I could not recall Grandpa mentioning any legal matters. Let's go in and check. Maybe it is something Grandpa Fang arranged in secret, Su Chen suggested. A man dressed in a sharp black suit stood up as I entered. Greetings, Mr. Fang. I am the legal counsel representing the late Master Fang. My name is Lawyer Li, and I am here to finalize your grandfather's last wishes. Please sit. Lawyer Li, what exactly did my grandfather leave behind? Lawyer Li carefully unzipped his leather briefcase and pulled out several documents signed by my grandfather, laying them out on the coffee table right before me. First, the briefing. A transfer agreement for 20% of the Fang Group's shares. Second, A deed of gift for this entire residential estate. Under normal inheritance laws, my father would have been next in line. But Master Fang exercised his legal right to distribute his assets directly. He said I didn't need to worry about any legal disputes. Furthermore, there was this: the entire of Master Fang's bank funds, stocks, and cash had been registered in my name. He personally ensured they were notarized. The lawyer told me that even if I chose not to sign today, he would utilize every legal resource at his disposal to transfer everything to my name regardless. He said this was his final duty for Master Fang, and he hoped for my cooperation. Now, he wanted to proceed with the signatures. I understood. I grabbed the pen and signed decisively, flipping through the pages one by one. Once every document and fingerprint was finalized, the lawyer thanked me for my cooperation. He handed me a letter, saying it was left specifically for me by Master Fang, and told me to keep it safe. With his job done, Lawyer Li turned and left. After Su Chen also departed, I stared at the letter Lawyer Li had delivered, then locked myself in my room. I had Su Chen take the signed documents for safekeeping. Keeping them in the Fang manor was risky, especially with that troublesome relative hovering around. The envelope's paper felt old and brittle, as if it had been stored away for ages instead of being written recently. Just when did Grandpa write this? I opened the envelope gently, like handling a priceless treasure, revealing my grandfather's bold, elegant handwriting. My dear grandson, it read, I truly regret that you have to read this. I had hoped this day would never come. But in the end, I had to leave before you. I couldn't stay by your side until your hair turned gray. But Fang Mo, please do not drown in sorrow. I have simply gone where I belong. Lawyer Li should have visited you by now. I prepared those assets for you 10 years ago, so that when you finally meet the love of your life, you can marry her with all the dignity and honor you deserve. This manor now belongs to you. No matter what happens in your future, good or bad, you will always have a home to return to. That is enough sentiment. Please forgive me for leaving you behind. From this day on, I want my Fang Mo to live a happy life. My knuckles turned white as I gripped the fragile paper, before delicately sliding the letter back into its envelope. Without my grandfather by my side, did I even have a home to call my own? The flickering lamplight struggled to illuminate the naturally dim room. Suddenly, I crossed my arms tightly, clutching my chest as I collapsed by the bedside. My heart felt as if it were pierced by 1,000 needles. For a long time, I sat on the cold floor, crying as tears surged like a relentless ocean tide, flowing without end. The two maids stood outside the door, paralyzed with pity and torn between knocking or leaving me to my grief. Their own eyes reddened with sorrow. My sobbing finally ceased after half an hour. Fearing I might do something reckless, one of them knocked anxiously on the door. Young master, are you all right in there? I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I was just saying my final goodbye to Grandpa. Let's head downstairs and talk. I sat on the sofa, gathering my thoughts. Aunt, please sit. I want to hear your plans for the future. Do you intend to stay here at the estate, or are you looking to start a new life elsewhere? Whatever you decide, I will respect it. What about you, young master? Will you stay, or are you leaving us? Aunt, I'm moving out today. If you wish to stay, this place is yours to live in. I know Grandpa wouldn't want it any other way. The two maids exchanged a knowing look, declaring they would stay to guard this ancestral home. The afternoon sun radiated a surprisingly soothing warmth. In front of the Fang Manor, a sleek black Mercedes-Benz was already idling, and a man stepped out of the driver's seat in a sharp, formal black suit. He respectfully took the two suitcases from my hands. Greetings, young master. I am Mugi, assistant to Miss Bai. Miss Bai is tied up in meetings this afternoon, so she sent me to collect you. Mugi felt a cold shiver run down his spine. The young lady hadn't sent him at all. It was old man Bai who ordered him to pick me up. That stubborn lady had refused to budge an inch, leaving old man Bai no choice. I didn't dwell on those details. In fact, I fully understood that she was forced into this marriage, so why would she ever come to pick me up personally? Assistant Mugi, I'll trouble you to take my luggage ahead. Just send me the location. I fished out my phone and pulled up my QR code. Assistant Mugi looked genuinely touched as he added me, suddenly thinking that the young lady might actually like me. Young master, are you planning to drive yourself there? Yeah, I replied, already pulling on my helmet. A motorcycle is far more efficient than a four-wheeled cage. I arrived early, waiting patiently at the complex gate and removing my helmet. I leaned lazily against my bike, scouting the surrounding neighborhood. 15 minutes later, Mugi saw me waiting outside and scrambled out of his car. Young master, this was my oversight. I was busy at the office and forgot to brief the security guards. I couldn't have cared less about such trivialities. It's fine, I said. The scenery is actually nice. Mugi thought to himself that this young master had an incredible temperament, without a single arrogant bone in his body. Once we finally stepped inside, the maid, Lu Sao, who was busy in the kitchen, strolled out. With a slow, deliberate pace, she sized me up from head to toe, sneering internally. Madam Bai was right, this guy is completely bottom tier. His clothes look embarrassingly cheap. Young master, this is Lu Sao. She will handle your daily needs. I have urgent business at the office, so I will head out. Call if you need anything. Got it, thanks for everything today, Assistant Mugi. The moment he stepped out the door, Lu Sao immediately started acting up. Young master, I have family matters to attend to and need the day off. You will have to figure out your own meals. She did not speak as if asking for leave. It sounded like a mandatory notice. Madam Bai had already tipped her off that Bai Xiaoshuai had zero feelings for this sudden, interloping husband. A divorce was inevitable within a month, so she did not need to put any effort into serving me. She just had to act whenever old man Bai was watching. I did not show any surprise at her insolence, remaining perfectly calm. Fine by me, do as you wish, I replied. Then, I headed upstairs to unpack. I was never a pampered, spoiled young master. No matter how much grandpa doted on me, he never let me become a fragile brat who could not take care of himself. From daily chores to cooking and even working the fields, grandpa taught me everything with care. I am teaching you this, he would say. Not to make you suffer, but because these are the absolute fundamentals of survival. Recalling my grandfather's wisdom, tears began to shimmer in my eyes once more, blurring my vision. Looking around this hollow, massive mansion, I instinctively carried my suitcases toward the guest room. I had scanned the layout upstairs. There were 2 guest rooms on the 2nd floor. I was not delusional enough to believe Bai Xiaoshuai would share a bedroom with me, though I held a faint glimmer of hope about making this marriage work and avoiding divorce. I am not the type to force someone. If she feels nothing for me, there is no reason to drag her into my misery. Pushing my emotions aside, I hit a nearby supermarket for some essentials. I wanted to cook, but the empty fridge left me with no choice but to dig into my suitcase and pull out a pack of Lucifen the maids had bought me. So, I sat in the vast, luxurious living room, eating extra spicy river snails and flipping through a medical textbook, while the entire space became completely engulfed in the pungent aroma. Suddenly, the front door clicked open, and in walked a woman radiating an icy indifference that could easily chill the entire room. Her brow was furrowed, one hand covering her nose and mouth, as pure disgust flashed in her eyes. Her freezing gaze swept across the room. Finally locking her eyes on me, she snapped. What on earth are you eating? Why does it smell so incredibly foul? Only then did I realize she was tracking the source of the stench. I had absolutely no clue Bai Xiaoshuai would be returning so early. Since I was basically a guest here, I had to show some manners. My apologies, I will clean this up right now. I had no idea you were coming back today. She marched toward the far end of the room, flinging open every single window in the villa. She physically could not stand the smell. To her, it was like being trapped in a septic tank. She lingered by the doorway for a long beat before coming inside and shoving a single sheet of paper toward me. I looked down, spotting the bold title, Prenuptial Agreement. I took it with absolute indifference. That brief, single page managed to cover every base, even though every clause was clearly weaponized against me. The core of it was simple: a mandatory 3-month marriage, followed by an immediate divorce. The union had to remain a total secret from the world, or I would owe her a staggering 100 million in damages. To show some basic respect, I gave her contract a quick once-over, then looked up and reached my hand out for Bai Xiaoshuai. Knit her brows and snapped. She probably assumed I wanted to negotiate terms, a flash of annoyance clouding her beautiful face as she instinctively tightened her grip on the pen. I did not waste my breath on small talk since the outcome was already set. There was absolutely nothing to discuss, and Bai Xiaoshuai clearly did not expect me to be this blunt, her cold eyes scanning me with suspicion. Without a single moment of hesitation, I signed my name. I finished and slid the document back to her, looking her straight in the eyes. Miss Bai, it is done, my signature is right there. Do not worry, I will not touch a single cent of your assets. You can rest easy. Just view me as a temporary tenant for the next 90 days. You clearly need this time to secure whatever it is you are after. Good night. With that, I turned and walked upstairs, not giving a single damn about the look on her face or whatever mood she was spiraling into. Bai Xiaoshuai stared intensely at my back as I vanished into the upper hallway, wondering if I was playing hard to get or simply casting a long line to reel in a bigger fish. Scowling deeply, she headed straight for the master bedroom, likely surprised I had the sense to claim the guest room instead. After taking a shower, Bai Xiaoshuai did not even stay the night, driving back to her own villa in the dark. Oblivious to her paranoid theories, I just collapsed onto my bed and passed out. The next morning, I headed to work at dawn, grabbing a quick multigrain pancake and some soy milk. The moment I walked into the hospital lobby, Su Chen intercepted me, asking with real concern, "Why are you not resting? Can your body even handle this right now?" Su Chen had been gossiping at the front desk since early morning. It was his daily ritual before starting his shift. "Dr. Fang, are you really okay?" The reception nurses chimed in, their faces full of worry. Seeing everyone so genuinely concerned for me sent a wave of warmth straight to my chest. I put on a brave face to show I was fine. Look at me, I am fully recovered. After chatting, I headed back to my department, booted up the computer, and called the first patient. I always give 120% to my patients. I had already treated a dozen of them in a row, when around 10 a.m., my clinic door was violently kicked open. I jumped, startled by the loud bang. Expecting some medical dispute, I braced myself, but seeing the intruder made me freeze with cold calm. Fang Chang was absolutely livid, his face a deep shade of purple. My indifferent attitude only fueled his explosive rage. He had discovered just this morning that every single cent of my grandfather's assets had been legally transferred to my name yesterday. It was a reality he simply refused to accept. Did you seriously embezzle your grandfather's entire estate? Did you hoard it all for yourself? Take the afternoon off and come with me to transfer those assets. He spoke without a shred of shame, barking orders at me like he was some kind of military commander. I played dumb and shot back, transfer them where? Back to Grandpa in the afterlife? Fang Chang glared with pure venom. Do not play stupid. You think his legacy belongs to a brat like you? Naturally, everything goes under my name. Are you dreaming, or did you lose your way? This is surgery, not psychiatry. Fuming, Fang Chang immediately pivoted to threats. I knew you were up to no good. Hand everything over if you know what is good for you. Otherwise, I will seize it all back anyway, and your medical career will be officially over. For a corporate leader, your grasp of basic law is embarrassingly pathetic. Try using your spare time to upgrade your IQ, I fired back with cold, merciless sarcasm. This sent Fang Chang into a blind frenzy. He grabbed the penholder off my desk and hurled it at my head. Luckily, my quick reflexes saved me from the blow, but he instantly followed up with a hard slap to my face. As he lunged to strike again, I grabbed his wrist in a firm grip. I only took that hit because I was distracted. Do not test me again. My gaze turned murderous as I stared into his eyes with chilling intensity, refusing to back down even an inch during our tense standoff. Su Chen suddenly burst into the room, gasping for air and shielding me. His voice was unusually harsh. Uncle Fang, what on earth do you think you are doing? If you keep up this harassment, I am calling security. Imagine how it looks for a prominent businessman to be dragged out of here in handcuffs. Realizing the loud scene was attracting too much attention, my father stormed out in a huff. Are you okay? Su Chen asked. How did you let that scumbag hit you? Was all your taekwondo and martial arts training for nothing? I slipped up. I was busy dodging the penholder and did not see the slap coming. It is my fault. I guess he is here for the inheritance? Yeah, he wants me to transfer the shares to him. I suggested he make an appointment with the psychiatric department. My face stayed totally blank. I felt no pain. I had not felt any fatherly love since childhood, so his toxicity could not hurt me now. Su Chen sighed heavily, his face tight with concern. What is your plan? Are you staying on shift? Or should I find someone to cover your shift? I am staying, obviously. These patients need me, and it is not like I am missing a limb. I am fine, go back to your own department. I resumed calls for the next patient, keeping my mask on to hide the red mark. After Su Chen left, he felt torn, wondering if he should call his sister to deal with my father once and for all. If that man kept making scenes, things would get ugly. Yet, Su Chen feared that acting on his own would only spark Fang Mo's fury. When the workday finally ended, Su Chen invited me out for dinner. He jingled his car keys, asking where we should go. I thought about it, then suggested, how about some barbecue? Let us hit that place right next to the university. It has been way too long. Back in college, we practically lived on skewers there whenever we celebrated. It was our favorite spot for a feast. Once the food arrived, Su Chen started devouring the skewers, asking mid-bite, how is the new living situation? Is Miss Bai making your life a living hell? We have drawn a clear line. I stay in my lane, and she stays in hers. I decided not to mention the prenuptial agreement or the 90-day deadline to him. I knew how explosive his temper could get, and I did not need more stress. In 3 months, I would be free anyway. Are you seriously telling me you are not tempted? You spent the night together under one roof. I honestly have no idea. I just ate some river snail noodles and passed out. Her car was gone when I woke up. Maybe the smell chased her away. Su Chen was honestly, I was speechless at my own audacity. If anyone was a total savage, it was me eating stinky noodles on our first night. Su Chen shook his head. You're a legend. The fact that you're still breathing is a miracle. I have to hand it to you. Su Chen laughed. But honestly, she wasn't as terrifying as the rumors made her out to be. I didn't find her scary at all, just a bit cold and distant. After our late-night snack, we parted ways, and went back to our own homes. The next day, in the hospital cafeteria, Su Chen was scrolling through Weibo while eating his lunch. He was easily the most energetic person in the room. Meanwhile, I was just about to clear my tray after finishing my meal when Su Chen nearly jumped out of his skin. Holy crap, no way, look at this, he yelled. I slammed my tray down. What has gotten into you? Realizing he had caused a scene, Su Chen quickly clamped a hand over his mouth. With a highly anxious look, he shoved his phone toward me. Skeptically, I took the device and glanced at the screen, freezing for a split second. Shrugging, I handed it back. Does she get caught up in these scandals often? I asked flatly. Never, this is a total first, he gasped. The legendary Miss Bai is the literal ice queen, completely untouchable and immune to any damn gossip. This is brand new territory. Trust me, it is only right, he swore, claiming this had never happened before. Su Chen assumed I was digging into my new bride's secret past, so he spilled all the tea. Instead, I let out a sudden, sharp laugh, one dripping with heavy irony. I honestly didn't care about the scandal itself, but the sheer audacity of it left a bitter taste. This perfect granddaughter-in-law my grandpa had handpicked treats me like a common thief she needs to guard against. Going by Su Chen's logic, a powerhouse like her would never let the media leak anything onto the trending list without her express permission, unless they had a literal death wish, right? There was only one logical explanation: she sanctioned this entire drama herself. With a calculated move like this, she is probably terrified that I will get greedy and try to cling to her massive fortune instead of signing those divorce papers. Bro, this is the woman you just married. Look at the trending tags. She is out with someone else, looking all touchy-feely and cozy. Shouldn't you have a normal human reaction to this? What reaction do you expect? This stunt just proves she is desperate to keep me at bay. If I react and make a scene, she will just think I am obsessed with her wealth and have some sinister ulterior motive. Forget it. Focusing on work is the only reliable thing. Man, you must be in a major retrograde lately. First, your old man attacks you in your own clinic, and now your new wife pulls this stunt. Honestly, you should have just married my sister instead. At least then we would officially be brothers. At 6 p.m., inside the Fang family dining room, the table was already laid with a lavish feast. The entire family sat waiting for Fang Chang to pick up his chopsticks. However, Fang Chang was restlessly pacing back and forth in the living room, his brow furrowed in a deep, irritated scowl. His stepmother, Chen Lan, was getting dizzy just watching him, but she dared not criticize him directly. Instead, she asked in a soft, cautious tone, "Old Fang, what's eating you? You've been pacing like a caged tiger for nearly an hour. Talk to us. Maybe Ting Ting and I can help, like lighten your burden." The moment his wife broached the subject, Fang Chang's pent-up fury finally reached its absolute boiling point. That afternoon, he had consulted a law firm regarding the inheritance, only to be told that those assets were legally untouchable. Even dragging them to court would be a futile effort. Chen Lan and Fang Ting's faces twisted with rage. That brat, Fang Mo, is completely out of control. How dare he bypass you for grandpa's estate and just sign those papers behind your back? But no matter how you look at it, you are the rightful primary heir. Clearly, all those years of education were an absolute waste on that boy.